Welcome everybody, welcome to class. On this lesson, we will be discussing and showing you the technical aspects of budgeting. I am joined today by a woman with whom I have great respect for. This woman is highly regarded in the accounting and bookkeeping industry with a long history of advocating for the profession. She's the founder and director of All That Counts, Lielette Calleja. Is that correct?
Lielette is fine, but Calleja.
I knew that I would actually probably not say that correct, but that's okay.
Yeah, that's okay.
Thank you. Welcome, Lielette.
That's fine. You did really well, Sue.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you. We've known each other for a very, very long time, since the Uniting Bookkeeper days. And you were top of my mind when I wanted to do this class, and I thought I must have you here with me to do this. So thank you so much for being here. And just before I delve into lots of questions for you, I just want to offer the listeners some information of your background. So allow me to read just a small portion of your incredible accomplishments.
Go.
Dear listener, before starting up your own business in 2004, Lielette, you held senior finance positions in the commercial private sector, primarily in the entertainment and music industry. Recently joining the Institute of Public Accountants, the IPA group, in the newly created role of Chief Accounting Technician, where your focus is primarily around advocacy and technical professional development programs for accounting technicians and development of the accounting technician brand. To clarify, an accounting technician is what we are.
Yes, correct.
Yes.
It can be a bookkeeper or a BAS agent.
Yes.
But the whole idea is to modernise the term bookkeeper and bring it to the 21st century.
Yes.
Because what a bookkeeper traditionally did, say 10 years ago, is not what they do today. So
Correct.
The term accounting technician fits the functionality.
Yes, I just love that so much. And Lielette, you manage and lead a multi-award winning firm with over 25 years of budgeting, financial management, accounting and bookkeeping experience. In 2021, you were named one of the top 50 small business leaders with Inside Small Business.
Yeah.
You see, wow. That is why, one, you always take my breath away, and one, why I so need you here to teach our students who really don't have a lot of grounding in budgeting, the fundamental aspects of it. So, yeah. So welcome again.
Thank you. And I must also share with your listeners that you are also very instrumental in my journey as well, in my career. So one of the first people I probably met in my speaking circuit when I would come up to your group. And I always thought to myself, wow, this lady is ahead of the curve. And like I said to you offline before, you were doing podcasts when podcasts wasn't even in the dictionary. So congratulations to you. So you've come a long way as well. And it's so great that we've maintained a friendship as well. So
indeed.
Pleasure to be here with your audience and talk about budgeting.
Yes, how exciting. So before we get into all the nitty-gritty stuff, I want to ask a couple of fundamental questions. What is budgeting to you? What does it mean to you?
I think it's probably, we can all become complacent, and I think we're all guilty when things are tight, and money's flowing in, we don't tend to budget. We don't even tend to use the word budgeting. But when things are very tight, particularly throughout COVID, where people were losing jobs and stuff, we start resonating budgeting with that. But budgeting is something we need to do even when things are great. Because for me, it gives me that peace of mind, that financial independence. I know a lot of people say, it creates financial freedom. I don't like to say that, because I think as soon as we say financial freedom, it means people can go out and start spending what they like. And that's not what we're trying to achieve here.
Yes, yeah.
A budget to me is a wish list it's not a wish list. It's a footprint of the money you've actually spent versus what you've made. And the objective of a long-term budget is to work out how much money you have left to achieve the goals that you want in your life, whether that's to put your children through better education, or save for some great holidays, or renovate the house. Everyone has different goals, but fundamentally a budget is about how to go about and achieve those goals. Whether you have money or you don't have money, everyone will get the same benefit from following a budget roadmap.
Yes, yep. I think that's that was one of my questions, is the benefits of actually doing a budget themselves.
Yeah, well, to go into further detail, when you do a budget, the whole idea is to gain clarity and staying on top of your spending pattern. Because believe it or not, but when the first pandemic hit, first thing I even did was, okay, great, I need to see where all our money is going. So even someone like me, I'm guilty of it. I don't always, revisit my budget. But I think COVID changed all that. And I think we've all formed these wonderful habits. We need to be more mindful where our money is going and being in tune with our spending habits. We need to focus on paying down more debt so we can achieve. And by that, I'm not saying paying them completely off, but just being in control of how long it's going to take you to pay off. So, so many opportunities to save money when you have a budget and you stick to it.
Yeah, it's really come at a great time, this conversation, because here in Australia, the government has been quite generous in their support packages for small businesses and the individual. And one of the things that I've noticed is that I haven't spent a lot of money over the last 2 years. One, because I couldn't go anywhere. And two, because I live in the same clothes and no one's going to see me. So there is a fair pool of savings that I have been able to mass. And I'm just thinking to myself, I don't think I'm the only person. I think there's a lot of other people who would have all this newfound fund lying around. And the government would want us to spend for the economy. Correct. And that's good. I'm not saying don't spend, but before you go out and spend, how about if we do a budget? And this is why this class is so important at this time, especially for Australians who are coming out of their lockdown. But no matter what, if you've got some sort of funds that are available, before you go, oh, I'm going to spend it, just wait, just give yourself a bit of space and use these concepts that we're talking about to spend wisely, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah, and to spend wisely, if you don't have a roadmap or a plan to know where your future money needs to go, then you can't confidently make those choices. I read an article the other day as well that the government, I think, like you said, is hoping that people will spend money, but at the same time, you've got financial advisors. On the other hand, I think I saw an article from Nest Egg saying that people shouldn't be going out there and buying big things, new furniture and stuff with any of the government stimulus they've received, because we don't know what's around the corner.
Yes.
We don't know. And I dare say if another lockdown is going to be imposed on us, we hope not, we don't know if there will be any stimulus. So it's really important to save for that rainy day. And because that rainy day can happen any day now.
Yeah. The idea of having like a 1 month's worth of emergency money and then have 3 months worth and then have 12 months. That concept I've always kept for the last 10 years. It's very important for me as a small business owner to know that I have at least 1 month. If all my clients left me, I have 1 month's worth of income to pay for all the bills that I need. And then of course the 3 months and the 12 months. Could I just ask you a question at this point? You and I both work in this particular industry, the bookkeeping industry, and when people don't have a budget, especially if they're in business, have you had experience with those sort of people, like reining in their expenditure, aka people who don't pay their superannuation for their employees, people who don't pay their GST, people who don't pay their income tax. That has been the greatest issue I've dealt with people, that they don't have the money to pay for the commitments that they've made, or credit card debt or whatever. So what's your experience around that?
Yeah, interesting. I think if I had to sum up the characteristics of my clients, if personally they have a household budget and they're quite diligent, they tend to be the same within their within their business.
Yeah.
And that's just, it's mind-blowing that the difference it has on a business who can ride out, tough times, seasonal times, compared to someone who doesn't do that and really judges the success of their business by the cash in their bank. Now, you and I know that the cash in the bank is not profit. That's to pay, outstanding things like, BASS, super, future payroll, rent. And these business owners don't think about that. But if we take it back to the personal budget, I have clients who draw a salary from the business, so they know exactly what their income is. They don't rely on, director loans or director drawings. That's all bonus stuff if they have to do that, if they get to do that. But they need to know what their bench line is and what they're going to take as a minimum. And when they know that, and this is what I say to all of my clients, even the ones that don't draw a salary, come back to me and tell me what you need to live. What is it? Include, all your entertainment and everything. And then we can come up with a salary that I think is going to help you stick to your expenditure. These are businesses that have a cash flow problem. So that's how we go in and we help them. First off, we look at what the owner is taking out. I liken very much, I know this is going to sound very cliche, but I'm going to use this analogy. Okay, if we want to lose 5 kilos, okay, we know that we're going to need some kind of food and exercise planner to track our intake of food and output is exercise. Okay, and let's say one day we don't put enough exercise in, we know that the next day we've got to make up for that. So essentially your weight loss and wellbeing planner is akin to like your money planner.
I love it.
Call it the budget.
Yes.
But in this case, it's money coming in, not food, and it's the output is not exercise, it's our expenses. So both planners will only work if we hold ourselves accountable. So losing weight.
That word. There's the word.
I know.
Accountability.
Yes. Exactly. So it's great for you and I to sit here and talk about budgets, but if people aren't ready to take that step, and a lot of the times it's like anything, it's like losing weight. People can tell you need to lose weight, but if you're not ready in the mind to do it, you're not going to stick with it.
So here's another example, and I suppose leading into the next question is setting aside business owners for a moment and looking at the individual who has a household, for example, and our listener is the person who has all the money and divvy it all out, and they have put a budget in place. I've got a couple of ideas how we can get the whole family to stick to the budget. One of them is inclusion. We need to include everybody into it. But what other things can we do? And if it's primarily like the woman who holds the budgeting as well, and if they're in a household where the traditional household of a family, when perhaps maybe there's 2 incomes coming in and there's a bunch of children. Just look at that scenario for a moment, and then let's look at another scenario where there's just like a single person. So how do we get the whole family, do you think, to stick to a budget as opposed to just the individual? Any thoughts?
Yeah, I think your word of being including them all. I think it's like again, if I take the whole weight loss, I know with me when I'm on a diet, I include my whole family in on it. It's like, if I'm going to do it, you're going to do it. We're all going to benefit. We're all going to benefit from this, is what I'm trying to say. But I think you've got to reward yourself as well. So if you've got kids and, you know, if you're asking them to cut back on their spending, and maybe even like, you know, we can't afford these subscriptions for the next quarter, maybe just have a little reward or a little, you know, something to surprise them. It doesn't have to be a lot. It could even be, right, you get to pick whatever you want to eat for the next week, or something that's rewarding, to make it. So just make it even like a competition. Who can save the most? Those type of things come in, you know, work well. People love competition. Families love to compete against each other. And at the end of the day, it's also, you can also say, right, if we can save X amount, we can afford to go on this holiday. So, but if we keep wasting money over here on these, you know, takeaway meals, Uber meals. I know families who live on Uber. And I have to have a serious discussion with them to say, A, it's not healthy for your family, and B, it's you're paying 4 times as much that it would to make the meals at home. So they negotiated with the family and said, we're cutting it back. We're only doing Uber 2 nights a week. And now I'm told that they're actually down to 2 nights a fortnight.
Wow, that's fantastic. Yes.
It's just also, and I think it's, you know, as we need to encourage each other. So if you've had a win, you've been successful in the way you've done something with your family, share it with your friends, share it with people in your community. It's because we all need that inspiration and encouragement.
Yeah, I think that's wonderful. The idea of having also envelopes. This is so old school.
Yes, you know, I know.
Or jars. And then every month they go, or they say, okay, this is what's going to happen in these jars. And then they count it out and then they do the stuff with it. That's a great game, especially for young children. They can actually see and feel the money going into it. That's just another little, I suppose.
Yeah, I think that's great. Real life Monopoly.
Yeah. One of the things also, another question that I have for you is, some people get confused. I get confused, I should say. And if I get confused, I'm sure that other people get confused between 2 words, a need and a want. They do get confused.
Yeah,
and sometimes when we are in a state of mind or a space of being where we're in a low place, then sometimes a want actually feels like a need. And we have, on this particular course structure, there are meditations, 2 meditations that we have that will ground the listener to understand that, the feelings of that. From your experience and from what you believe, what do you think? How can we also, from a practical point of view, look at what the difference between a need and a want is?
Well, firstly, I think we all have choices to make. So what is a need is essentially has driven from a choice. So let's be clear. I have a mortgage to pay, but it was my choice to have a large mortgage. I need to pay the mortgage. I have school fees to pay, but it was my choice to send my son to private school. You see what I mean? So whilst they're a need, everything is a choice. And I learned this from someone who I was once having this similar type of conversation with, and they said to me, it's all a choice. And it was like my aha moment. So I thought I'd just share that with your listeners as well. So just think about, so yes, they are needs. If you're renting, it is a need. You need to have shelter over your head. If insurance is a need to a certain degree, or if you don't have private health cover, that's okay. It's not essential. It could be a want for some people because they might have lots of medical issues and they feel that that is a need to them. So what is your need is not necessarily someone else's need. So don't ever feel guilty for thinking that you need something.
Or be judged.
No, not at all. Never apologize for that. And I never apologize, and nor should anyone else. Your needs are different. Now, the wants. Now, again, I'll go back to when COVID first hit and the lockdown happened. I went back to simple exercise. I exported my credit card statement into Excel, and I exported my bank account statement We don't spend with cash, so for us everything's on credit card. So it was the easiest way for me to go through my expenditure and go, where am I spending that is a want? Where can I save? And that was a really hard decision, particularly with my husband, because he wanted the Foxtel sports channels. And for me, that's a want. Sorry, you've got any mail.
Well, it's for him, it's a need. So
that's exactly right. And he was just like, are you trying to take away my sanity? Yeah. So I kind of went, okay, well, we've got Stan and Netflix. We probably don't need those two. So maybe I don't. So you see, you start culling. So wants are things you can cull back. It might not be forever, but it's something that you can cull back. I had also some business subscriptions that were nice to have, but were not essential to have. So I culled back on some business stuff. Go through your, even the iTunes subs. We get smashed with those. We don't even realize. So go through your phone and go through the subscriptions on your phone and start deleting things that you don't even use. They're wants. Things like clothing. Let's face it. We can always find another little black dress in the cupboard.
Yes.
But we want a new dress. And whereas I think shoes, like if your shoes, you've outgrown them or there's holes in them, they're needs. You're not going to go barefoot. So to me, it's, and groceries as well, food. Like, you might want to have the best produce, but can you afford it for the, this month or next month? You might need to go frozen.
Especially if you buy other things that, like my husband and I, we've just put 10 kilos on together over the last 2 years. And that's ridiculous. And so we said, well, it's because of all the potato germs. And even though they're 4.5 star, we eat a lot of them. So we do love, I have a few vices. I have Coke. I love a glass of Coke every now and then. And, so to accept, looking at all those options and going, do we need potato chips in the cupboard? Do we need fancy vegan biscuits when I can just make my own?
Or do I need that red wine?
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I know. I beg to differ. I think that's definitely a need. Medicinal purposes.
But your idea about understanding that, don't ever judge your wants and needs against anybody else's, because as one person or as a family unit or as a couple, you have to decide what it is for you and what is needs and wants. There is a pressing matter that I would love to share with you, and that is the use of credit cards. Now, my original course before budgeting was going to be how to eliminate credit card debt, but I felt that it was really important to do budgeting first and then move on to that course, how to eliminate credit card debt, because there's no way that you will eliminate a credit card debt without this foundational information first. The unexpected expense. This is what I want to share with you. Something happens and your hot water thing, explodes, whatever, and you need to get one. It's like $1,200. You don't have it in the bank. You don't know. So of course you have your credit card, and then you put it on your credit card. That's all good. That's fine. It's then how do we pay that off efficiently and quickly within the budget? Because we didn't have that money to begin with, which is so important to have emergency money. So I would like to get your take on the credit card use for emergency stuff only. And I know you do use credit card for everything, but I also suspect that you probably pay off. Yes. So I just want to clarify that also for our beautiful students.
Yes.
That the concept of that. So if you want to share that with us.
The concept for using credit card is that it's just an easy way to track. I have my wallet on my phone, so I just tap everywhere I go. But we pay our credit card off every single month, the full amount by the due date. So no interest. And look, I understand some families can't do that. And I know a lot of families live on credit. And I think a lot of families have managed to keep their roofs over their heads and put food on the table because of credit. So and in some situations, my husband owns a small business, and I said to him, put everything on your credit card for now, get yourself an extra 45 days. And that worked for him. So he was just like, wow, yeah, I didn't think about that. So in some situations it can work, but if you can't afford to pay the credit card, don't go and get another credit card to pay to make up the difference. Do you see that? And this is where I see a lot of individuals go and take out, they've got Afterpay, they've got Zip, they've got all these other things, because they want the item now. But sometimes, and I think those payment gateway solutions haven't helped. Credit card was one debt, but now we have those other debts.
Yes.
And when you see something, it's easy. I have a lot of clients in e-commerce, and they know that they're tapping in on the emotional buyer's psyche. That's why they have those, because you're selling something and you want someone to buy it now, and they go, well, it's easy, 4 easy installments. But they don't realise they've also got a credit card debt coming up, and they've got all these other expenses, and that's where they get into trouble.
Yeah. Again, that's probably where the meditations on the course really help, because it does enable space. Meditation's all about creating space in the mind. Because we're continually chatting to ourselves, even when we're asleep, it's always going all the time. And so when you learn the art of slowing down your breath and understanding when you're triggered, because what happens just before you buy something, you get a dopamine hit. It's this, and you buy it, and then you come down from the hit. It's such a drug. It's a dopamine hit. You click, you buy. And then you go, buyer's remorse, and why did I buy that?
Yes.
So that is all it is. And once you're aware of it, which is what my teachings throughout everything that I do, through hormone wisdom, through the energies of the moon, through my bookkeeping practice, it's about awareness. And you can feel the rise of dopamine if you're aware of it. The best thing you can do is, when you meditate, you can find that space. It's because you don't really need a lot of things in life, but I believe we want a lot of things. So when you can choose from a place of, I'm happy to get that, I can afford it, I've checked my budget, everything's fine, okay, I'm good to go. There's more accountability within you. There's this accountability within your spirit, so you don't get buyer's remorse. And I love that you brought up the bias, because I've been studying that for my next course.
Okay.
Is to understand what your bias is powerful. Mine, would you believe it? It's called, I can't even remember now. It's, I get things quickly. So I have lots of bits of information and I draw upon things very quickly. It may not all be true, but availability bias, that's it. I have availability bias, and I go, I got that. I make a decision based on very loose information. So what I'm learning to do is going, right, what are the facts? Where is that dress made? Where is the material crafted from? Who is that? So I recently did that with a lot of companies and realized they're all made in China, and they're all made from companies who actually don't pay the appropriate price. This is a cotton dress, and it's Italian cotton. I've paid a lot more money for it than I would if it was in China, but I did invest it. So that's what I mean. Like, I invest my money because I didn't go zhunk for a $5 t-shirt or zhunk for a $20 dress. I waited in it, and I waited for a bit more money, and I invested wisely because I took the time to research what it is that I wanted, and that's that will help.
That's a very good habit to be in. Very good.
Yeah. Now, my darling, I want to get back to some practical stuff. So I'm going to ask if you would just share your screen with us. I'm going to give a different view for the audience. Speaker view, and please share your screen, and let's have a look at the practicality of budgeting.
Okay, just bear with me while I bring it up to a slideshow view.
Lovely.
Can you see that now?
I can indeed, my friend. Yes.
Excellent. Okay. So personal budgeting 101. Here we go.
I'm going to take
Now,
a deep breath.
Sue has kindly shared information about myself, so I don't need to go into that again, but there you go. Just you can see a few credentials about me. And for those of you who would like to follow me, you can on any of my social platforms, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. Okay, so just a disclaimer, with any financial advice we give, we need to say the boring stuff. This is general advice. You would need to seek tailored advice from your accounting advisor, considering your whole situation. Okay, but this is not financial advice per se, but it's just something we have to do in our industry.
Correct, yes.
Okay, so I know there's a lot of writing here, but please take pictures, draw from this what you can. A lot of it is a summary pretty much of what Sue and I have been talking about. So a quick start guide to budgeting. I think it's really important to understand these fundamentals. The first one is discover your why. I know we overuse that term, but it's really important when it comes to budgeting. You want to know what emotion drives your motivation, okay? And you need to, it's like Sue was saying before with the dress, you know, she knows that, you know, before she would buy a dress from anywhere, but now she starts to identify her emotional connection to where the fabric is made, you know, how the company pays their staff, all those things. So it might be something like that that triggers your need to start budgeting as well. But once you've identified what it is, what your emotional driver is, that's going to make it impossible for you then to not budget, because it's part of it's part of your overall objective. So discover your why. Is it a holiday you need to do? Is it renovation you need done in your house? And once you start doing it and you're building it like a habit, you'll keep doing it. You won't stop. And it creates, I've seen some couples where the wife becomes like a budget monster or a budget Nazi. But I tell you what, I can tell you now, they are more successful because they have holiday homes, they have investment houses, and they wouldn't get that if they didn't have a budget. They didn't know where every single dollar was going. Now, the husband's why is, it's okay for his why to be different. He might want a new car, but you see the overall picture. You probably want a lot more for yourself or for your family, but that's okay. So don't be deviated by your partner's why. Okay, so that's also something important. My husband has a different why to my why, but overall we kind of find a balance, an intersection where we meet. Number two, track and categorize your spending. Now, this was something I mentioned to you where I just went into my bank account, I exported my statements I probably did it for 3 months to give myself a good view as to where my money was going for 3 months. So that allowed me to, it gave me awareness. It also allowed me to identify, if we go to number 3, my recurring spending. I needed to know where my fixed costs were. Could I control those costs? Could I change them? You know, and this is where the fixed spending becomes, is it a need or is it a want?
Yes.
Do I need that subscription? So you need to find out, if you use cash, then you might want to probably do what Sue said and use that envelope. Every time you take money out, write it on the envelope where it was, what it was used for. Old-fashioned, but I tell you what, it works. And color code it, make it look exciting, you know, maybe have, you know, pink as, yes, it was a need, and maybe green because it was a want. So start using colors as well to make it a little bit more exciting. And if you are trying to bring your family into it, well, we know that colors work as well. So make it look like a game. Identify your variable spending. Now, this is where things can fluctuate. It's what we call the silent killers, because it's kind of like, yes, that $20 takeaway meal, I'll have that, or that $5 coffee a day, you know, especially like me, if you're starting to drink almond milk, well, wow, that's an extra $1.
And Jen, just on that too, Lielette, because it's amazing because I was spending $10 a day on coffee for my husband and myself when we walked down to the coffee shop because we have a home office. So we decided to invest in a $750 coffee machine, huge expense for us. But you know what, over the last 3 years,
you've paid it back.
We have saved like 3 times that amount of money.
Yeah, so. I know. I'm the same. I just have an espresso machine and I love it. I have to think twice now about having a takeaway coffee, not more so also for the taste, because I know what I'm making at home compared to what milk they're using in the cafe. So I always try and look over and go, well, what brand almond milk is that? Do I like it? Is it? So identify your variable spending, and undoubtedly you will find leakage in there that you can save. Number 5 is the budget calendar. Now, it's okay. The budget calendar is like an event. Think of like your events calendar. You've got things going on in the year. You might have weddings, birthdays, Christmas, Easter, all those things, anniversaries. This calendar, you want to highlight where you know real life is going to come into your budget.
That's very clever. Yes.
So have a 12-month budget calendar as well to go, okay, I know in December I'm going to spend X amount on Christmas presents, or you might be really smart and buy throughout the year when things are on sale as well. But nonetheless, put that into your Christmas category budget, because what you want to try and do as well is like any budget, you actually, if your income doesn't go up, you don't want your expenses to go up. You want your expenses to go down. So it's all about your expenses being relative to the money you make.
Perfect.
Number 6 is prioritize your savings goals. Like, prioritize those. If you want that holiday, if you want to take your family overseas, I know that sounds like a fairy, live in fairy tale now to go overseas. But if that's possible one day, then start saving now and put that money away. Again, renovations, new car, so many things that can happen, but prioritize those. It'll give you guidance on where to throw your money to make the most significant impact in your life. So I know my husband said, I think I want to get, solar for the pool. And I went, it's not really a priority, we've got a pool, but we're not massive swimmers. I said, I think it's more important that we do this. And we weighed it up. We go, what's more important? What's going to improve our lifestyle? And we kind of went with, well, we need fly screens. That's more important. So you can't do everything at once. So it's about coming up with those goals and saving for them.
Yeah.
Number 7, create a plan of attack for debt.
Okay. Yes, that's a big one.
It is a big one. So if you've got credit card debt, and I'm not talking about loans, okay? Loans, they're structured, they're there for you. If you've got, a car loan that's structured, a mortgage that's structured, I'm talking about, debts like the credit card. You may also owe a family member some money or a friend, those type of things. And I dare say they're the type of debts that allow you to lose sleep. So make sure that you create a plan for that in your budget, okay? Create your, number 8 is to create your budget roadmap. Now, this is about creating something that's realistic. It's not a wish list of, I'd love to earn X amount per month. No, it's what you're earning now. And if you plan to stay in the same job or run your same small business and you don't have massive plans for growth, then don't put an unrealistic income figure in there.
Yes.
Err on the side of being conservative rather than going the other way. Okay, so a budget should be based on what you are actually spending, not what you want to spend. So if your grocery bill is $500 a week because you've got a large family and whatnot, don't put $300 if that's not realistic. That's not going to happen. So be realistic. Again, going back to looking at your trends and patterns where you're spending will help you identify what it should be. Number 9, tweak and perfect it. Okay, tweaking and perfecting your budget isn't just about making changes in the future, but also making sure every budget reflects your real life. So as things change in your world, make sure you update your budget as well. Okay. And number 10, I think this goes back to how you can include your families as well. So reward yourself. If you know, it's important to reward yourself with something small as an acknowledgement for your hard work and discipline.
Yes.
And if your family has contributed to that, maybe reward it to them. And I think when you can pay it forward as well, when you can see, you know, a friend of yours who's struggling and you can say, hey, this is what I'm doing now, I think that'll also make you feel great as well, and help you and help them take control, and you can do it together. So, you know, that whole repeat and rinse and repeat process, that's probably what I'm trying to say here as well, but share it with others. So that's the quick start. If we look at every one of these steps, there's probably 10 points behind them, but we don't have the time to go through that. This is a high level.
I think overview, it's fantastic for someone who's just starting out. There's a lot to digest.
There is a lot to digest, Okay, so I'm trying to keep this really simple. So if you currently have a small business or an employee, and I'm just using hypothetical figures here, let's just say your total monthly income is $4,750. If you've never done budgeting before, the most simplest way for you to understand and get used to it is just to take your monthly or your weekly or fortnightly, whatever it is, income, put it into an Excel spreadsheet. And I think Sue's going to offer this all to you in her pack anyway, so you'll have access to this. And then categorize your expenses for the month. So off your pay, where is your money going to be dispersed? Okay, so you can have yourself a monthly budget, but more importantly, what was your actual? Where did your money go, and where did you fall short, or where did you do well? So if you budgeted $500 for your groceries, but you came in at $580, you had a difference of $80. Now that's probably not so bad because you've picked up $50 in entertainment. So you can see, or you've managed to also save an extra $100 in savings. You had a budget. But the money left is $680. So $680 can either stay in your bank and save for a rainy day and build that up, or you can put that into some kind of savings, or you can pay more off the mortgage. But what this gives you, it gives you clarity as to where your money is going. So it's really important that you start off. And if you've never done budgeting before, if this concept is new to you, even if you don't choose to do it in Excel, get yourself a notepad and just write this down as well, or an envelope. It really doesn't matter. The whole idea is to build the habit and understand the concept.
It's really good. And because Lielette, I think that we spoke just prior to the video and the meeting that for me personally, I'm a big forecaster. And I've now decided I'm going to reduce the amount of Excel spreadsheets, which I will share with you in a moment, my Excel that I'm offering to you, my dear student. But upon listening to Lielette and looking at how simple it is, what we're going to be doing is looking at just 1 month. You need to learn the basic skills, 1 month, and then move on to a more, which you'll still have access to, the forecasting and looking at long term. So this is incredible, Lielette. Yeah, incredible.
No, that's fine. I've also put the percentages there because I think they're important as well. Like as your income goes up, now at the moment, your groceries are 12% of your income. So what you want to do is if your income goes up, it doesn't mean your groceries go up. Okay, so that's the other thing. There are certain costs that should not go up, so your percentage should drop. But if your percentage goes up, equivalent to your income, then something's going wrong.
I think there's a word for that too. I think they call it the creep.
The creeps, yes.
We call it true.
That's right. This is where I guess the leaky bucket or the creep, those things. So I found with our groceries that, you know, we were just, it was going through the roof. And I think it was my husband who alerted it to me. And I think it was that it was waste. I was buying all this fruit and vegetables and I wasn't even using it because I don't know what would happen. I'd get busy or something else. So now I've learned not to buy that fresh produce until I need it.
Oh,
I
bingo.
know I'm going to cook it.
Bingo.
I will go and buy it.
Yes.
There is no excuse. Shops are open 24/7. Like if you've got a Coles or a Woolies or IGA, whatever.
Yes.
But yeah, so
brilliant.
So yeah, that was for me because I was guilty. My grocery bills were huge, and there's only 3 of us, so it was crazy. But certain things like insurance, you can pick and choose those things. Like if we just got a puppy, so I now need to take out pet insurance. So and that's what I'm saying. Things will change. So update your spreadsheet as well. So once you've mastered that, okay, we'll move over to what I would call. So this was where did my money go?
Yeah.
You then want to start looking at where will my money go? So,
yes.
Which is what we call a forecast, but I've tried to keep it, friendly language here where everyone will understand. So this is a monthly budget forecast category breakdown. So what you can do from this is this becomes your forecast. And then, so I'm just going to go back to the other screen.
Yep.
Because then you'll transfer what you forecasted as your monthly budget, and then you'll show your actual.
Yes.
So this is just a forecast. So let's just say you start this from next month in November, you want to do a forecast. So again, I've just got a basic salary here, but let's just say in April, you're hoping you're going to get a pay increase or sales are going to go up. So you will also play around with those figures. This is a spreadsheet. So whatever numbers you put in here, it'll calculate what money is left.
And Lielette, if people are a Mac user, I will certainly have a Mac version available as well. I think it's quite easily converted to numbers.
Oh, Excel, yeah, it's fine. If you open it in a Mac, it'll convert.
Yeah, perfect.
It's all, yeah. So yeah, and then if you've got also, like you can also include your partner's wages in here as well. So this could be, this could be a combined wage, excuse me. So whatever income's coming in, I mean, you might have a rental property and you've got rent coming in for that as well. So I don't know your situation, but tailor make this spreadsheet, to your situation. But what is important is to identify those fixed costs and variable costs, because the fixed costs, like I said, you probably don't have a lot of power to change unless you decided that you no longer wanted to have a certain subscription, or let's just say you no longer have a car repayment, you've paid out the last payment. So if you've got a balloon payment you need to make, you will have that also put into one of those months if that's applicable. And any loans that you have as well, apart from your mortgage or rent. So you can adjust those. I've just used very flat numbers here. It was just to show you something. But groceries as well, so utilities, petrol, entertainment, and then we've got other occasions, could be like Christmas, Easter, or anniversaries, and then you've got birthdays and holidays. So, but you can add to that, but don't complicate it. The more you have, I can tell you now, if you have a lot more categories, it's going to be a lot harder for you to administer. So,
I think if they can keep it just in the A4 in the long way, that I think this is the best way to keep them and fit the categories in. Do you remember like some clients that we have, when you look back and you think their chart of accounts is like 3 pages? Yeah, they put one in for like bank fee, then merchant fee, and then they put in something else for fees. So there'll be 5 bank fees.
Yeah, they tend to, I had some clients that would tend to create their chart of accounts by their suppliers.
Oh.
So I would have Telstra, I would have Optus, I would have so many different, but ladies, you get the gist. Well, Keep it simple.
Yeah.
Try and categorize them. If you want to have subcategories, that's fine. But honestly,
No, keep it simple.
Keep it simple. And so this spreadsheet shows you on a month to month the money that's left. So if you can see in the month of January, because you're going on holidays and you've got Christmas, there's an extra 2,000 you're spending. Okay, so that's leaving you in the red, minus 1,410. That doesn't mean necessarily your bank account's in the red, because if you look at November and December, you had money left over. So what the budget forecast is giving you is peace of mind, knowing that, okay, let's say that wasn't a holiday. Let's say that something did break in the house. You needed to replace your freezer or fridge or something. So what you would do here is, actually, that's probably a good one. We should create a repairs and maintenance one, a replacement.
Yes.
So you need to then replace something. You can put that into your cash flow or your budget forecast. If we jump over to July, I've put 3,000 for a holiday. Let's say something broke in the house and it was going to cost you 2,000. You would know that if you replace that 2,000 with the 3, you'd be okay. And what that's doing is you're able to have a healthy family conversation to say, well, we can afford this replacement fridge, but it means that we might have to defer our holiday. It means we might not be able to spend that much on our holiday.
Yes.
So you're having these inclusive conversations with your family. This is what I think it actually brings a family closer, if I have to be perfectly honest. It's not, no one is in the blind. I see a lot of families where maybe sometimes the husband controls the finances and the woman doesn't. And I just go, no, it needs to be inclusive. You both need to be on the same page. And this is literally a page where you can all be on. And it doesn't hurt to share it with the kids. It teaches them accountability and responsibility for money too.
Yes.
So accumulative money left is really important. So as you can see, at the end of 12 months, you will have 6,900 left. That doesn't include also what you've put into your savings of 5,300. So again, these are just hypothetical numbers. You make this yours and you put in your numbers, your own numbers, to see how much money you have left, or if you don't have any money left, what changes do you need to make in order to live on month to month and hopefully put aside some savings.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Lielette, thank you.
That's it for me. And look, if anyone has any questions, would like to get in touch with me, you can do that via Sue, or you can contact me directly. So thank you, ladies. It's been a pleasure.
Lielette, that's fantastic. Thank you so much. We've got, I'll just share something special just with the viewers, because one of the questions we have also is, well, what happens when we want to, how do we track our actuals? How interesting that is. It's like, well, there's lots of apps.
Yeah.
You can actually look at, there's some free apps out there that you can, every time you spend, you can actually, take a photograph of it and it'll go in, you can allocate it within the app and it can send you what that is. Yeah. I'll have at the end of this some links to some really good apps that you can use, even like MYB and Xero. They have some fantastic apps just for the individual as well. Yeah. I find that they're fantastic.
There's also there's a couple of products out in the marketplace now. They're virtual credit cards, where it's actually using your money. So what you can do is, if you want to also have a budgeted amount, let's just say you wanted to say, right, I only want to spend $500 a month on groceries. You can transfer from your household account to this virtual credit card $500, and it will send the receipt to your, so there's Airwallex and there's DiviPay. So there's those two that I know of that can be used, and a lot of households are using those for their children as well. So rather than giving them a credit card, they give them a virtual card. It's on their phone and it's brilliant. So and then if they've used that money, or if you've used that money, you just top it back up with your own funds.
That's fantastic.
So they're really good. They're what's called virtual credit cards. So you're not going into any debt.
You're using
your money. But if you want to track your expenditure and it summarises everything.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah, but there are, like you said, there's some great money tracking apps as well.
Yeah.
Out there.
Look, and I do have an Excel spreadsheet. I won't share it here, but on the information that I'm going to be giving the student out there, my darling students, you'll be able to have like a little Excel spreadsheet tracker. It's quite easy. It's a little, I'll give another tutorial just for that particular one. But it's for those of you who may be like of my age group and you're not a bookkeeper and you're not really an app person. It's another little Excel tool that you could use to track your funds as well. So yeah.
There's a solution for everyone.
There is a solution for everybody. That's correct.
Just master the fundamentals.
Yeah. Look, okay. So thank you so much. You are a queen of budgeting, may I say. I love that. And thank you for the gift of giving those Excels to us to use.
Yeah.
And I encourage everybody to follow you and to keep an eye out for some of the things that you're bringing into this space as well.
Yes.
I'm not going to share too much, but please, my dear listener, my dear watcher, you need to follow Lielette because bookkeeping.
Follow me, on Instagram. All That Counts is probably the best place to follow me. My business account, so All That Counts at Instagram. So that would be great. Yeah,
wonderful. And many years ago, I started this program called the Uniting Bookkeepers. Because bookkeepers, and I call them that because I'm old, we believe in a shared universe that we believe in. This is why we're collaborating together.
Yes,
we work together to help you. And bookkeeping is predominantly a female, I would imagine still a female profession.
It still is, yes.
Yeah. And we are very much inclusive of everybody. So that's why we're sharing this space together. So
correct. Yeah.
Thank you, my darling friend.
Thank you, Sue. Thanks for having me. I'll see you next time. Bye everyone. Happy budgeting.
Bye-bye.